Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
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 Well, hello there. Hello there. We've got an interesting video tonight. I know we've been kind of Star Wars light lately, but we haven't really had to do anything because the media is doing plenty of attacking of Star Wars themselves. And it's interesting because I'm reminded of the quote from The Dark Knight, but I'm going to use the Adventure Time meme. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Mm-hmm. Because the very media outlets that used to criticize YouTubers for being too critical of Star Wars are now themselves becoming the biggest critics of Star Wars.
Right. Because The Last Jedi is untouchable.
The Last Jedi is untouchable, and everybody is taking shots at the Rise of Skywalker. Now, some of them are very legit concerns, and some of them are kind of nitpicks that do stem from the fact that they like The Last Jedi, and the Rise of Skywalker backpedals.
But so many of these articles, it's like The Rise of Skywalker, blah, blah, blah. But The Last Jedi was a masterpiece. And it's so funny because they're all like, well, The Last Jedi had amazing reviews. And the same people, like I said before, the same people that reviewed The Last Jedi because they liked it are the ones who reviewed Rise of Skywalker or pissed because they undid The Last Jedi. So, of course, their reviews were going to reflect that.
Yeah.
It's clearly obvious why it's the way it is.
So before we get into the video, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're over 90,000 subs, hoping for 100,000 soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Geeky thanks you. She thanks you. From the bottom of her being.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go out and look for Rise of Skywalker news, which we do. And you're starting to see a pattern here. The Star Wars defenders are now becoming the biggest critics of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's funny.
They are becoming the fandom menace.
Yeah, well, no, don't insult the fandom menace.
I'm not insulting the fandom menace. I'm just saying they're becoming the very thing they
claimed they did not like.
Because
when it affects what they like, then of course they are the moral standard. So it goes by what they say.
Yeah, so we're seeing this all flip-flopped. I mean, we have articles like this, how watching The Rise of Skywalker made me appreciate The Last Jedi more, or how I learned to love old man Luke Skywalker. Now, she, I guess, didn't like The Last Jedi, but it's a masterpiece compared to The Rise of Skywalker. But there are some, other ones out here. The Rise of Skywalker's Rotten Tomatoes score is a travesty, but it's not the article you thought would be. This is actually talking about how it should have been a little higher, because it's not that bad. But everybody pointing out that all the critics, are slamming on The Rise of Skywalker.
Well, of course they are, because the critics are the ones who white knighted for The Last Jedi. So when they didn't get what they wanted, when they stepped over The Last Jedi and basically wrote it out, of course they're pissed. So they downvoted it. I'm not saying that either one are good. What I'm just saying is there's a very logical explanation for the lower critical scores.
Right.
A very obvious explanation. But their takeaway is, well, it's because The Last Jedi was better and Lucasfilms need to hire Rian Johnson to do more movies. And I strongly recommend that Lucasfilm doesn't listen to that if they want to keep their fans.
Yeah, that didn't go so well, did it? Their expectations were subverted. We've got this one. Now, I actually do like Paul Tassi from Forbes, but, maybe the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker writer should stop explaining his decisions.
Yeah, he keeps doing that.
That's a bad look, too. Like, we put the movie out there, people have issues with it, but every week I'm going to make sure I say something else that just kind of gets me in more trouble. And then we've got, Colin Trevorrow coming out and being like, oh, I had this whole other movie planned, and here's what you could have had, everybody. A sequel to The Last Jedi.
Well, I love it. You said about subverting your expectations, but that's what The Last Jedi did it to everybody else. But now that when it happens to them, they're going to scream and whine about it. Like, the man-baby trolls that you spent the last 2 years yelling at and saying they should live in their caves, they should go back to their caves. They're misogynists, they can't stand strong female characters. They're just man-baby trolls because they didn't like the masterpiece you liked. But now that it has, the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah.
Then everybody's man-baby trolls because they like The Rise of Skywalker now. I mean, you can't win with these people.
Rise of Skywalker is proof that Star Wars needs to reinvent itself.
Well, it does need to reinvent itself.
The Rise of Skywalker is outrageous and unfair. It's outrageous and unfair to the Star Wars legacy.
How is it unfair to the Star Wars legacy after Last Jedi? I mean, it is. The fact that she's Rey Skywalker and all that. I'm not arguing. But in what planet is this worse than, The Last Jedi? They both are travesties to the Star Wars legacy.
Yeah, so This one, though, actually backs up some of the things that we've been saying. They said, how did Disney F this up so badly?
Good question. We don't know.
And we'll talk about that. But before we get into some of these hot takes here, I do want to point out that Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker falls below 1 million. Now, this is obviously a clickbait title, right? But what's going on is it's dropping off. People aren't going back to see this movie.
Well, it's also how many weeks in?
Yeah, but it's dropping faster than the other Star Wars movies.
Oh, well, surprise! We've called that already multiple times. It's like, and water is wet. Everybody was pointing this out for weeks on YouTube.
Yeah, they said in terms of fastest to under 1 million. Okay, we're talking like 1 million a day.
Right, I got that.
Right, in terms of fastest to under 1 million, Rise of Skywalker did so in almost record time for a Star Wars movie. At least in modern times, Phantom Menace may have earned comparatively similarly mixed to negative reviews in terms of the binary tomato meter.
Okay, you can't go by tomato meter anyway, because the whole thing's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I know, but they had very different trajectories in terms of commercial legs. Phantom Menace earned 431 million domestic, yada yada. Basically, people went back. What he's saying, in a nutshell, is people went back to watch The Phantom Menace multiple times. They're not doing that for The Rise of Skywalker. And it's dropping off a cliff.
Well, yeah, but you know what? To be fair, Last Jedi dropped off a cliff too. Not as fast, but after like the word got out about what a shit show it was, it made it like a week or two, and then it kind of went, you know.
Yeah.
I just, here's the thing: tomato, potato. You know, it's the same thing.
So here, of course, this is Scott Mendelson from Forbes, and he's like, hey, talking about like, people go back and there's some gotta see it moments. Even the Phantom Menace are like, well, the pod race and the lightsaber battles were pretty good, and yada yada. But The Last Jedi at least had that glorious second act climax where Kylo slices Snoke in half and then teams with Rey to finish off Snoke's guards. The Holdo maneuver.
That was stupid. Because I'm like, if that could be a thing, why didn't they ever do it before?
Here we go. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. This whole article, which was supposed to be strictly numbers, Rise of Skywalker is dropping off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly what I said too.
Yes. Scott Mendelson is saying the reason the Rise of Skywalker is dropping off a cliff is it's not as good as The Last Jedi.
That is not the reason.
I can understand why Rise of Skywalker was fashioned to essentially negate much of The Last Jedi. I can almost understand how the comparatively rushed production schedule led to certain choppiness and lack of narrative functionality beyond the fetch mission structure. I cannot understand how they didn't make sure that The Rise of Skywalker, the final chapter of the Skywalker saga, didn't have at least one I gotta go see that again action sequence.
Well, some people said it did. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Horses on a spaceship. That's not enough? That should be enough to bring people to the theater.
Here's my thing, and I keep saying this, and I'm standing by this. The decline of Star Wars can be traced back to The Last Jedi. I mean, that's just what it was. People were mad about it. They ruined Luke. They subverted the expectations so much that it wasn't even like Star Wars. And then they turned around and then started attacking the fans, which in turn caused people to not go see Solo, which in turn caused people to not go see Rise of Skywalker. So you can trace the downturn back to The Last Jedi. Like I was saying to you earlier, it's like if you have a restaurant and you make sandwiches and they're always really good, and then you put a new sandwich out and everybody goes and eats it, and then like everybody stops buying it in a couple weeks because they all got sick off of it and it wasn't very good. It wasn't like your normal sandwiches. It was like, what the hell was this? So then you put another sandwich out and no one goes and buys it, and you put another one out and it just progressively you get lower and lower amount of clients coming in to buy your sandwich, and by the time you put this epic big sandwich out at the end, everybody's like not buying it because they're so tainted from the other ones. That's what this is. It's not like because that sandwich was so much better than this one comparatively speaking. It was because everybody got sick of the shit from that sandwich that they didn't want the new sandwich.
Unless it literally was a shit sandwich and people got food poisoning and then they heard that place was bad and you don't go eat at the bad restaurant.
And then all the new clients wouldn't come because they don't want. And then the people who like the shit sandwich were mad they weren't serving it anymore.
They didn't want to get the squirts.
I'm just saying. You can trace it all back to that, but they keep trying to say, "Oh no, that one was a masterpiece and the audiences loved it," and that's not what happened.
Now this is really interesting. This is also from Forbes. Now you gotta realize, we do talk about media outlets. We talk about why is the media, and we refer to it almost like it's a giant brain, and it's not. You do have individual contributors, and sometimes you have differing opinions, even on the same website,
even on the same day, right below each other.
Even the same day, we'll have
funny.
2 or 3 articles, and this is a case like that where Mendelson was just going on about the box office and how awful The Rise of Skywalker is. This guy on Forbes, Eric Kane, is like, talking about how it's now the lowest rated Star Wars movies, 52% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which I've already explained why.
Yeah, well, and he goes there. He does. He said, "This is madness. Say what you will about the film, it's nowhere near as bad as The Phantom Menace. It has its share of problems, no doubt, but it has plenty that works. It's funny, poignant, and fun, and it should have been split into two parts. It's just baffling to me that critics could collectively rank this lower than a movie as terrible as The Phantom Menace. I've already written about this before, but the critics must be crazy. The score, I'd wager, is less about the movie itself, and more about the way it backtracks on Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi, a critical darling."
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying. Because it's the exact same people reviewing it. And if they all thought Rian Johnson was second coming of whatever, and they thought The Last Jedi was the best masterpiece ever because it tells me I'm special inside, and then they undo that, of course they're going to give it a bad review. They've white knighted for this movie for 2 years, called people names, tell everybody they were man-baby trolls, and then it undoes what they've been fighting for. Of course they're going to give it a bad review.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, he's not sticking up for the sequel trilogy at all, but he said, saying that The Rise of Skywalker...
I'm not either, I'm just saying.
No, saying that The Rise of Skywalker is actually worse than the worst of the prequel movies is a bridge too far, and I'm disappointed it's come to that. Look, I mean, this is... And I just... God, it's so frustrating because a lot of the things that the media, the critics are saying now about The Rise of Skywalker, people have been saying on YouTube for years, and they have been constantly attacked, constantly called alt-right Yahtzees, called
man-babies,
trolls,
misogynists. You don't like strong female characters.
Right. And it's like, here you go, guys. Now the shoe is on the other foot. And, but it's okay. It's okay if it's coming from the trusted media.
Well, they're mad because, Kylo Ren, Ben Solo died, and they're mad about that. But she was the one who took the Skywalker name. Don't you like strong female characters?
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying.
Here, look. If we put a video out called "The Rise of Skywalker is proof that Disney needs to start over with Star Wars,"
no, if we said that's fine. If you said The Last Jedi is proof, then you're in trouble.
Right. But we put videos out like that before, where we've actually said Disney should just start over with Star Wars.
Which they should.
And we were attacked, and other YouTubers were attacked for saying that. But if The Verge puts this out, that Star Wars needs to start over, it's okay. It's okay if they say it on a media outlet because it's a trusted media outlet.
Late to the party, pal. We've been all calling this out for, a couple years now. I'm just saying. You're just late to the party. We joked, we said this is going to be a movie for no one, and now you're seeing the results of this with the media, because it ended up being a movie for no one.
If we had a title like this on a video, "The Rise of Skywalker is outrageous and unfair to Star Wars!" ! We would get so much hate from people. We would get people on Twitter calling us names. We would have salty comments.
Because The Rise of Skywalker, apparently you're allowed to say that. You have to say The Last Jedi is outrageous and unfair.
That's the difference.
Which we basically have said, because it is. And so is The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, come on, Rey Skywalker, she's all the Jedi. I mean, I'm not defending this movie by any means. I'm just saying that the juxtaposition of the way that the media is behaving, it just amuses me greatly.
The Rise of Skywalker is a perfect case study for studio mismanagement of a beloved franchise. Just today.
Wait, I just said The Last Jedi was.
Did I say The Last Jedi?
No, it said The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
Wait, it's now a perfect case of mismanagement, but The Last Jedi was not.
Well, no, actually, he actually doesn't defend the Last Jedi. He said it felt too much like an indie movie, though. But I put an article out there a couple months ago about on Derezzed, our pop culture blog Derezzed, and I basically said that Disney had mismanaged Star Wars. This was before The Rise of Skywalker came out. I pointed out to all the reasons, the toy sales slipping, Solo bombing at the box office, Galaxy's Edge being a flop, and we got some crazy comments from people calling me a Russian propagandist, saying that I'm not looking at things factually, and I was blowing things way out of proportion, and now the media is saying the exact same thing. But now it's okay. It's okay if Forbes says it.
Yeah.
It's okay if The Verge says it. But if a YouTuber says it, they're talking out of their ass. So very
Who do you think we learned it from?
Yeah, right. So there you go, guys. Congratulations. Welcome to the party. You guys are part of the club. You're all a bunch of Star Wars haters, just like us.
That's right. You will be assigned your ist on Twitter.
Your ist.
You're gonna start getting harassed now because how dare you? So just be ready for that.
How very dare you? Twitter's gonna rip you apart.
That's right.
I don't know. We'll see. All right, so we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yep.
Okay. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.